Hi, I'm Ilona. I'm a wire wrapper, a silversmith, and an occasional wire wrapping instructor. And today I have a little tutorial for you. We're going to make this pendant. It is very, very simple. It may not look like that to you if you're a novice, but trust me, it is. This is the design I teach in my classes for absolute novices. First of all, I have to state this is not my design. I've seen it done by many different artists and many different variations. People put their spin on it. I don't know if it's even possible to find out who originally came up with it, but if you know, feel free to comment. So for this design, we're going to use dead soft copper wire, 18 gauge, which is 1 millimeter, and 26 gauge, which is, I don't even know, it's half millimeter or maybe 0.4. 18 gauge wire that I will use is called base wire. Obviously it is used to support your structure, and the thin wire that we're going to use to make a pattern is called weaving wire, obviously because you weave with it. Another thing we're going to use is a 10 millimeter gemstone bead. I have here onyx, but it's up to you. You can use whatever you want. Now, the tools. So, working with wire, you have three basic tools. Your wire cutters, which are used for cutting wire. So these ones are quite small and thin, so you can get into narrow spaces. The most basic ones you can buy look like this. They're also fine and they're better for cutting, you know, thick wire. But once you start weaving, you will see why these ones are better. So these ones are Zoron, and you can get them in any jewelry supply store or Amazon, whatever tickles your fancy. So the next tool is, this is a needle nose plier, but the basic version is chain nose pliers. So they look like this. Again, these are fine for many things, but I would highly recommend you getting these ones. They're not expensive. They may be like 25 American dollars, though I'm not sure, but they're not much more expensive than that. There are different kinds of pliers you can get, not necessarily Zoron. There's like Lindstorm. They are also amazing, but they cost 3-4 times more than that. And then you have your round nose pliers. We're not going to be using them for this design, but they are used for making loops. We will not need them. Now the tools that are useful, not necessary, but useful. This is a Nylon Jaw plier. It is used for flattening your wire, for pulling wire, and for flattening your weaves without marking them, because obviously if you use metal on your delicately wrapped pieces, it could scratch or even rip it. And another thing that I highly recommend is a set of mandrels. They're wooden mandrels. And again, for the same reason, when you're making bales or shapes and you already have weave on your base wires, you can easily damage it with metal. Alternatively, you can use a pencil or a Sharpie or whatever, but these are also quite cheap and easy to get. Right, let's get started. So for this design, we will use 18 gauge dead soft copper wire, and let's cut about 10 inches. Now you want your wire to be as straight as possible. You can either use your fingers to pull it, or you can use the Nylon Jaw plier. See, it's nice and smooth. Now we will check. Let's see. So this is our 10 inches. Let's bend it just over half, so like 5.5 inches. And we will take our straight pliers and make a 90 degrees corner. And we'll take a bead, our bead. We'll take a bead and put it on the shorter end. So you have this corner with the bead like this. So now hold in this part with the bead and take your longer end and shape it upwards and around. So it goes all the way around the bead like this. See? So now we're going to bring this wire up to meet this one. And to do this, the easiest way is to hold it here, grab it with your chain nose or needle nose pliers, and just bend it upwards, like so. Now we're ready to start our weave, and I'm going to show it to you separately on really big wire, so it's easier to understand. So the idea is you wrap 2 around one wire and 2 around both, both. It's a really popular weave. It's probably the most popular weave in the craft. And it's really versatile, so you can use 2-2, 3-2, 5-1, 10-1, whatever you want. Anyway, so to start with, you're going to attach your wire on one of the ends, one of the base wires, wrap it 2-3 times. So I don't trim that tail right away because it's easier to hold it like this. And now we already have our first rotations. Now I take this wire and bring it over both of those and fold it. See? All the way around. Then bring it forward again and wrap around again. Bring it here. Then I take it and put it in between my base wires and push it down. And again, bring it forward, in between, push it down. So we are beginning to have our 2-2 pattern. Now 2, 2, squish it, down. Off. One. See, the pattern is the same on both sides. There. Now we're going to do the same thing, but on our bead. For this, I'm going to use 26 gauge dead soft copper wire. I don't cut my weaving wire off the spool because, first of all, you never know how much you will need if you're making a big project. Secondly, it's much easier to work with it when it's on the spool. Otherwise, if it's cut, it's just gonna get tangled and caught on things. Okay, so let's start. Let's secure it on whichever side you want, really, it doesn't matter. I'm doing the same thing. Wires being difficult. Come on. Okay. So I'm securing it. What's happening there? There. And now I'm going to start my pattern. You can put it slightly apart here, but not too much. And go. Over 2, over 1, twice. Two, 1, 1. So the biggest mistake beginners make in wire wrapping is putting too much force in both holding the wire and wrapping the wire. See how I'm holding it? You hold it lightly. I mean, you still need to have enough grip to hold it, but you don't need to squish it. If your fingers start hurting from holding it, it means that you're holding it too tight. Copper wire is really soft, so if you hold it too tight, it will warm up and it will deform, and your weave will look like a snake. The second issue, I mean, it's really part of the same issue. When you wrap your wire, you don't need to use any force doing it. See how I'm folding it? Instead of, I don't pull, I don't tug, I fold it and just kind of push it down. If you put too much force into wrapping, you will, first of all, the base wires will get too tight and you will not be able to put the wire in between them. And secondly, again, it will deform your base wires. So I will just continue doing this. And your weave, it should hold, but you should also be able to move it up and down. So when I say that you don't need a lot of force to hold it, that's what I mean. So for example, it might be easier to start your weave here if you're not used to it. And then when you add more, you just push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down. And we're going to continue with this weave until we have about 3.5 inches. Okay, so here I have about 3.5 inches of the weave done, and let's trim the ends. So first I'll secure my wire the same way I did at the start. I will wrap it 3 times. And then I'll take my wire cutters and cut it as close as possible. And I check that there's no sharp edge. Okay, that's good. And the same on this side. Where is the little thing? There. So again, I will get as close as possible. Trim it. Okay. So now I'll take the flat nose plier and squish the weave so it's nice and flat. See, it's nice and flat now. Now we will make a bail. So this bit. You can use a mandrel. If you don't have one, use a pencil or a pen. I have those metal mandrels, but if you're inexperienced, I would not recommend using them because they can damage your weave. So what I'm doing is I will take the bead, put the pencil about 1 inch or 3 centimeters. No, 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. Anyway, depending on how long you want your bail to be. So I'll put it like this and slowly, slowly bring it down, all the way down, like so. But don't remove it from your pencil now. Now I'm going to make this curve around the bead. But I will still keep it on the pencil because if I start moving the wire without it, your bail will get squashed. So to do that, I'm holding the whole piece with my hands, holding this, and slowly start bringing that part out a little bit. See, a little bit out. Now I'll take this and again slowly, slowly start forming it around the bead. No rush, do everything slowly. So you have a nice smooth curve. You can rotate it, however, whatever is more comfortable. And don't worry if it starts twisting, we will sort it out later. And bring it up here. From there, you can go 2 ways. You can either put this curve behind the bail, well, really in between the bail and the front. Kind of has this look. Or you can go over. I prefer this look. It's probably slightly more complicated, but I think it looks cooler. So if you are doing this design, you will bring it all the way around and secure the wires behind. I will show how. Otherwise, if you're doing it with me, what we will do is, hold on, things are moving around. So if things are moving around, you will just take your flat nose pliers and carefully push it in. Okay, so what we'll do now is cut, see about the height of the bail there. I probably made the bail too long, but oh well, too late now. Now I will take this bit and same way, slowly, carefully bring it in. Bring it in. Straighten it. Hold it. Oh, it's kind of looking like an oval, which is not what we want, but I'll fix it. The good thing about copper is that it's so soft that you can correct your often, not always, but you can often correct your mistakes. So that's what we have now. Now I'll take this end and bring it behind the bail, like so. Okay, now let's straighten the pendant before securing anything. So first of all, I will squish this to bring it down. You can do a little twist like this, so it's got a curve. Then you will take your flat nose pliers again. And straighten it. Okay, so let's secure these bits now. And you don't have to do this straighten if you're happy with how it turned out. I was not. Anyway, so now we'll secure the ends. We will work with one wire at a time. And the most important thing is to hide them. So you don't want your pendant to have sharp ends that can get caught on your clothes or whatever. So I'll start with the bottom one first. Bring it in. See, it's too long, so I will trim it, but keep enough so I can fold it in. Another important thing, when you're cutting your wire, if you're not wearing glasses, you really should hold the end so it doesn't fly off. And I'll take this end and tuck it in. Tuck it in and pinch it. Okay? And I'll do the same with this end. It's too long. I'll trim it. Tuck it in. Pinch. Okay, so that's what we have now, and let's straighten it because this time it didn't work the best for me. So I will take my flat nose pliers and just rearrange this in the way I want. But if you are doing it, be very careful when you kind of hold it and just pull it slightly. Make sure that your pliers don't slip because it will damage your weave. So if you are luckier than me, your wraparound looks much better than mine. Okay. And I like to give it a little curve here, so I will push it again. And there you go. There's your pendant. If you made it this way, you will just bring those ends around and tuck them either behind this bit or behind this bit, whichever you prefer. I have some really old versions. Hold on. Yeah. So I went in and then wrapped it all the way around again. It's a bit chunky. Or like so, you have this 2-and-2 weave and then it changes to figure-8 weave. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I would appreciate if you left some comments, because as I said, it's my first tutorial and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. Thank you for being here with me.